What's up, guys? Ian here, coach for your Ladner Lanturn, back with another season of Red. Season 8, we have been officially promoted to the Yellow Division. I've got some water here just in case my voice goes a little bit or I run out of breath or something. So, we rejoined Red, of course. Red is one of my favorite leagues to participate in. Obviously, I've only been there the one season, but I had so much fun playing last season that I came back and subsequently got promoted to Yellow. I was given a choice on which division I wanted to go to, and after, after seeing the recruits to Blue, I'm pretty glad that I joined Yellow. Honestly, Blue is a little bit difficult. Not that it wasn't difficult last season, and we managed to pull out a pretty good record last season. But a lot of my friends are in Blue now, and so it's nice to not play against them all the time as well. I know Jay said something about this to me where he wants to join leagues where he's not playing the same people all the time. And I got that too, because Hamu, Jed, Dom, and Jay are all in blue. Oh, and Mortal are all in blue. And I've played them quite a number of times. Jed and Jay I've played over double-digit matches against at this stage, and it's just sort of, yeah, I'd rather play against other people. So granted, we are still with Nacho in yellow, and a lot of the other players that you may have seen games against last season. So Evan is in yellow with us, so is Loco, so is Shiny Spam. We played against all of them last season. And Bill is also in yellow as well. But there are a few other people that I know fairly well, just from being around the community. So Specs King is in yellow with me as well. Good pal. I'm in a few other leagues with him that I don't upload. David, or Recon Jack, I've known him, well, since last season of Red, so good pal there. Regenix, same guy. Same guy. Regenix is also a really good friend. Again, we've known him since last season of Red, as well as Mount Silver. Nathan, same thing with Mount Silver and things like that. So, God, I hope I'm not missing anyone. Oh, TB, we've been in a few leagues with TB. Let me just bring up the doc in case I miss someone. Red's a pretty tight knit community in terms of just how fun it is as a community, rather than being, exclusive. It's not necessarily that exclusive, but oh, Vic moved up with us as well. I totally forgot about that. Lonely, we've never played against, but I've done some sims with him. Beery has been part of the Red community since I've been here, at least, so cool dude there. I think I mentioned everyone else actually. So that is yellow. 14 players just like last time. The budget got increased this season. Oh, thank goodness. So I'm not going to have a terrible looking team like I did last season. 115 points instead of 105 for the same number of bonds, so 9 to 11. Spoiler, I went and did 10. I think I went with the max, which was 11 last season, but we had less points, so I was getting a lot of budget stuff. With more points, I ended up not getting as much budget stuff on the team, and I think it looks really good. So heading right into things, I had like a kind of a middle pick. I think I had 11th pick overall, and I ended up just going with sort of the best thing that was there in my mind. And I wanted to get two Mons together, and so I was really hoping that they weren't going to get sniped, but I ended up grabbing the Clefable. Now, I am using Clefable currently in the PTL, and I have no insight on whether or not I'm going to be uploading this Red season. You guys may or may not have seen the entire PTL season already. I might doubt it, but I am recording this all the way back in February if I am uploading this late, because I've got PTL and WPL going at the same time. It was a thought that ran through my head that I would just upload Red really late and upload it after PTL and WPL were done, and have everything pre-recorded and then just upload it en masse sort of after that. So again, you may be seeing this really late. That there's a reason for that, and that's because I don't want to overload myself with uploading 3 leagues at the same time. Granted, I'm still recording 3 leagues at the same time, but I won't be uploading 3 at the same time. So if that's the plan, then again, I'm filming this in February, and you'll have seen an entire season with Clefable and PTL already, and an entire season with the next Mon that I drafted in WPL already. But this is the first time that I'm using them together, so it's going to be a lot of these two together. But Clefable, really solid wall. First of all, it's broken and it'll always get up rocks. Unaware is nasty. It's a fat Wish Passer. especially as a fairy, and it's a mon that I don't get to draft often enough, but is a super pain in the ass to deal with. Just because fairy is so hard to kill. Fairy types are so hard to kill, especially a Magic Guard one where you can't just Toxic it, and it's a cleric too. If you have a bad steel type or a bad poison, or you just don't have a poison and you have a steel, and the enemy can deal with your steel, which my team can. At the end of the day, I can very easily deal with steel types. Maybe not the poisons as much, but the steels definitely. The Clefable is just covered so well by those. Excuse me. Clefable's a pretty decent win con with calm mindsets as well. Its highest stats are special attack and HP, so it's definitely not a slouch on the offensive side, but it's typically seen run defensively just because you can use Calm Mind to boost the special defense, and then you're kind of just an overall tank, eating any kind of hit, and you get stupid recovery, so why the heck not, right? Yeah, so that is our first pick, Clefable. A little bit surprised to see it go as early as it was. I'm sure a lot of people were, but it sort of was something that I wanted to round out my team with. And this is a very interesting team. I actually think this is maybe the best team I've ever drafted. I'll say that right now. I'm a little bit sketchy on that, but it's for sure the fattest team I've ever drafted, and Clefable started that. So I still had 99 points for a minimum of 8 picks, which is a ton of points. And so I went and blew some more on another 16-point mon here, as I grabbed Garchomp round 2. So I drafted Garchomp in WPL, Clefable in PTL, and then I drafted them together in red. And all 3 of those drafts ended within 3 weeks of each other. So sort of on the same sort of binging. And that's what happens when you're, I've been playing Draft League for almost a year and a half now, and I've tried a lot of stuff at this stage, so you keep coming back to things, and then you get into phases. I was on a Mega Beedrill phase for a while there. That's why the Surrey Stingers were my PTL logo, and I've stopped drafting Mega Beedrill, and I started drafting Clefchomp. So yeah, Garchomp, really solid rocker again. So I got double rockers right off the bat, Dragon and Fairy for the Fairy Dragon Steel Core, whatever GBA fanboys want to call it. An Electric Immunity, which is nice for my next pick, because I am picking up my Water next. Solid physical attacker, double setup threats. That's really all it comes down to. Decent speed so far, 102. Obviously, outspeeds those base 100. It's pretty key that I outspeed the base 95 dragons, ones like Kyurem Black, and as well as the Haxorus at base 97, High Dragon at base 98. So there's quite a few dragons there that it's really nice that Garchomp outspeeds. Yeah, I don't know. Generally a physical attacker. Excuse me. Generally a physical attacker, gets some decent special coverage as well. And the 4 times weakness to ice, I will patch up with the next pick in the water as well. So pretty nice poison switch in for the Clefable. And Clefable's obviously a nice dragon switch in for the Garchomp. Next round, I'm going to grab Suicune, the fat water. We've really big throwback, but we won a title with the Suicune in UPBA Season 1. It's really fat. I've only actually used it twice before in UPBA, and I used it once in the LET Season 2. Fits in between the Clefable and the Garchomp speed tier wise. Again, it's a nice ice switch in for the Garchomp. It's a nice steel switch in for the Clefable as well. Bulky waters definitely tend to work super well with Fairy Dragon Steel Cores, just as general switch-ins to things. And Suicune is another setup threat. It's a status spreader. It's a pressure staller. So the fat on my team is a little bit nasty, and it's really nice. Suicune's a victim of Toxic a lot of the times. Garchomp's a victim of Will-O-Wisp a lot of the time, so it's really nice to have Clefable sitting there as a status sponge right off the bat. Pardon me. Suicune's fairly generic. I mean, you generally see like 2 sets, either Crocoon or Vincoon, but there are definitely other sets this Suicune can run in the draft format. Some a little bit more efficient than others. You see Roar used a lot more as a phasing tool, and especially with, it's not like I'm weak to setup with Unaware Clefable sitting there either. So there's a lot going on here, and at this stage, I was kind of really hoping I'd be able to get triple doggo pressure core with all 3 of the legendary beasts. Unfortunately, I did get sniped on one of them. And so we'll see that later. Um, I do get 2 of them, but I got sniped on 1. But my next pick is my Steel type. It's another rocker, so I have triple rockers, and it's the Mega Aggron. I've used Mega Aggron 1 time in the DBA on my fat hard rain team. It was the fat on that team because Mega Scissor got sniped, but I didn't upload that leak, so you guys probably wouldn't know that. Yeah, Mega Aggron, a little bit of a budget steal. We didn't need to draft. We weren't required to draft a Mega this season, but Mega Aggron sort of fit the team well anyways. Megas just have such good stats. And despite, losing an item slot or whatever, the stat boost that they get is so worth it. Really, it's so worth it. Mega Aggron fits into my Fairy Dragon Steel really well. I think it's probably one of the best, if not the best, Fairy Dragon Steel in the entire division. I really like it. Granted, I'm very biased about it, but I really like this Fairy Dragon Steel. I don't think people can necessarily compete with it, and it's so fat. It's very physically biased for sure, but it can take a lot of hits. And Mega Aggron sort of covers the Suicune a little bit as well with the grass weakness. Oh, excuse me. The type synergy on this team is amazing right now. Mega Aggron Garchomp to tank those poison hits for Clefable. Mega Aggron Suicune to take the steel hits for Clefable. Garchomp to take the electric hits for Suicune. Aggron to take the grass hits for Coon. Aggron and Suicune to take the ice hits for Chomp. Aggron and Clefable to take the dragon hits for Chomp. Aggron to take the fairy hits for Chomp. So, the only things that I'm missing, Suicune and Garchomp take the fire hits for Aggron, but then I have nothing to eat ground hits yet, and so that is my next pick, is something to eat the ground hits, just to sort of make the synergy a little bit better. And Raikou actually got sniped before this, so this changed my plan up a lot, but Raikou was obviously a lot more of expensive of a mon, so I ended up getting a budget electric type, and at the same time sort of salvaged my draft and made it even better, I'd say, by not having Raikou. So I am going to grab the Rotom-Mow Summer Job coming back. I've used Rotom-Mow many a time at this stage. This is probably the 5th time I've drafted Rotom-Mow, maybe the 6th time. Big fan of the Rotom form, specifically Rotom Heat and Rotom-Mow. I like the best just because of their typings and the versatility. I think Rotom-Mow is one of the most reliable defoggers in the metagame. That's not weak to rocks. I think it's just super easy to use, that sort of stuff. Leaf Storm is so threatening. Like, the fact that it's dual stab both threaten waters is really good. And the main water that I'd be worried about breaking with a Rotom-Mow, because it could like boost on me or something, is Suicune, which I have. So, Rotom-Mow is a very solid way to break waters that Garchomp probably doesn't want to take on 1v1 in case it gets burnt. And so I think that that's really important, that I have a good solid way to break a bulky water. Things like Manaphy don't take this on Super World. Granted, a lot of water types get Ice Beam, but threatening them with Dual Stab is just so important. It starts some momentum here for my team. I always love my momentum move, so Volt Switch is super solid there. I had Rotom-Mow in my NCL Season 1 team all the way back when we made finals. Again, reliable defogger. I don't remember where I was going with that. Oh, it is a ground switch in for the Mega Aggron. It's obviously a Levitator. And it's a great electric sponge for the Suicune, just in case you don't want to switch in Garchomp on an HP Ice. You can still switch in Rotom-Mow on an HP Ice, but 4 times resist to Thunderbolt and things of that nature is really cool, and I like that a lot. Obviously, fairly bulky on both sides, and then just especially offensive. Not really a whole lot of room to play with the attack there. Little bit of speed over the Suicune. So my fastest thing right now is the Garchomp, unfortunately, but we'll fix that in a sec here. But the speed on the lower end is sort of balanced there. Mega Aggron at 50, Clefable at 60, Suicune 85, Rotom-Mow 86, and then Chomp at 102 so far. This next mon I grabbed another water, and I kind of grabbed this just because I thought that it wasn't going to stick around for a while. It's just so good. And I underestimated it for so long until drafting it myself, and this thing basically gets a kill a game because it's that good. I ended up drafting Keldeo, and unfortunately, I think this is the first time where we're gonna... Is it the first and only time? No, it's not the first and only time. There's one other time we're going to run into this in my slide deck, but obviously Keldeo is not legal shiny. It's not going to be shiny. It's just I'm using the HD sprites this time. And unfortunately, Furt Turret does not have any regular sprites for Keldeo. So yeah, kind of working with what I've got. And then it'll come up with one more pick in 2 rounds. That's the only other one that will show up shiny on the screen that's not going to be shiny in my actual teams. So yeah, Keldeo. Water and Fighting Stab is ridiculous. Secret Sword hitting on the physical side, but using your special attack is ridiculous. You know, it's a better Psyshock, honestly, and it just breaks normal walls. You know, Chansey, Blissey, they cannot stand up to Spec Secret Sword from Keldeo. It's a phenomenal Scarfer. Base 108 is a great speed tier for Scarfer. The only thing in my mind that would make Keldeo better is getting U-Turn, and it doesn't need it. By any means, it does not need it. It's got, you know, you see 91 HP, 90-90 defense and SPDF. It's actually pretty good. It can pull off Calm Mind sets pretty well. You know, it's a decent defensive mon. It's definitely a very good Dark switch in. Granted, I'm not Dark weak on this team pretty much at all, but it's a pretty decent knockoff switch in if you're running Z on it. We'll get to the Z users at the end. Yeah, it basically just claims a kill with specs. There's a ton of different cool sets you can run with Keldeo. I like the versatility that it brings to the team. It's an offensive fighting type, and I'm sort of trying to build up my fighting Dark Psychic as we get down into the bottom of the draft here. And yeah, so the fact that I have 2 waters, I'm not super concerned. I like the idea of an offensive water and a bulky water anyways. And Keldeo was an expensive mon, but it was still sitting there. It was a speed tier above Garchomp, which I felt was very important. I have a flying resist in the Mega Aggron. It's a very reliable flying resist in the Mega Aggron, so I'm not worried about flying spam. I'm not worried about psychic spam because of, again, the Mega Aggron. And actually 2 more mons that you'll see a little bit down the line here, my psychic and my dark. I'm not worried about psychic spam whatsoever against this team. I'm not sure what else Keldeo is weak to. I've already covered the electric, I've already covered the grass, so Fairy is also covered by Mega Aggron. And I will get 1 more Fairy resist next round. So next up is a mon that you may remember from my NCL Season 3 roster, and that is the Entei. The offensive MVP of that squad. I think I proved that Entei can be used in more than just a choice banded manner and succeed. I ended up using quite a few different sets that season with Entei. It came to about 10 games, I think, and it ran a multitude of sets. I had so much fun building with Entei. It's just such a versatile mon, and Fire as a defensive typing is actually apparently very good from what I've read. It's like right behind Steel in terms of actual defensive typings and what they resist. It's very unfortunate that Fire is weak to Stealth Rocks, and that's only due to the fact that, you know, Rock beats Fire. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say there. My team is looking fairly specially biased at this point, so grabbing Entei gives me another physical attacker, or at least most of the time a physical attacker. You just slap a choice band on it, it's fine. Fits in between the Rotom-Mow and the Garchomp pretty well, especially considering you're running Adamant Entei a lot of the times when you're running a banded set. Granted, that you won't see banned from me every single week, I guarantee that. Yeah, looking forward to using Entei again. You know, this team's looking a lot more like a free draft at this point, and I still have to take 2 mons minimum, but I still have 20 points, so you know that's very doable with the points that I have left, and we'll see in a sec here that I'm going to use my points pretty well, because I picked up a budget pick in whatever round this is, round 8. Round 8 I ended up grabbing a pretty solid budget pick, and I don't think it should have been this low, but I will take it this low, because why the hell not, right? I'm going to end up grabbing Alolan Persian. Now, Alolan Persian is not supposed to be shiny. Again, this is the other version that's not supposed to be shiny. I've used Alolan Persian a couple times before. I actually had it on my MWPA Season 5 Championship roster. I've used it in Ivepple right now, and I used it on my PCL Season 1 team, which I uploaded as well way back when. It's not the bulkiest thing in the world, but Fur Coat turns it into Pseudo Bulk. It's a fast pivot with Parting Shot, which I really like, and I really love how much synergy Parting Shot has with my team, and that's kind of the main thing that Persian brings, is that I can Parting Shot into something, weaken them, and then I have a bunch of different switch-ins to mons that I Parting Shot. This is the fastest thing that's going to be on my team. base 115 speed. It's not really that bad to have as the highest speed tier. You'd generally like something a little bit faster, but it's got some decent options there. Technician is a really solid ability, and it's kind of got an special attack stat, but it can still pull off special sets with Technician. Technician nasty plot sets are kind of cool there. Not really much more to say about Persian. It's a great psychic switch in for the Keldeo. Obviously, it's immune to psychic attack, so kind of deals with those super well, and it's part of the fat that is so hard to break on my team. Round 9, I'm going to grab another Fatmon that is offensive as well, and gives me a Trick Room option. So if we ever decide to go with that sort of route, I can viably pull it off with things like Mega Aggron and this next pick, Reuniclus. I don't think I've ever uploaded a league with Reuniclus in it, but I've had Reuniclus before. I've used it once in Nepal 3? Nethrepple? I don't remember if I had anywhere else, but... Oh, you know what? I'm so silly. I have it in WPL. I have it in WPL right now. Reuniclus, really solid mon. I love the versatility Reuniclus has. There's so many cool different sets that you can run with Reuniclus. It's another status absorber with Magic Guard. So I have double Magic Guard. My only rocks weakness is to Entei. My last mon is not weak to rocks. So I'm not weak to hazards by any means. T-Spikes, even though I'm not going to draft a Grounded Poison, I'm not worried about T-Spikes with Mega Aggron plus double Magic Guard. There's a lot of good stuff going for this team, I think, and it's going to be incredibly hard to break when you add Reuniclus to the mix. I have solid ways to deal with dark types with Alolan Persian and Keldeo. Ghosts, I've got a little bit more of a problem against, but that's what Alolan Persian is there for. And I'm going to grab my normal type in the last round here, just so that I don't just outright lose to Ghost Spam. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of type synergy in terms of what Reuniclus brings to the table, besides finishing up the Psychic Dark Fighting Tertiary Core. Solid special attacker, again, like I said, very versatile in terms of utilizing between Magic Guard and Regenerator. Overcoat has its uses for sure, but they are very niche uses. Solid Trick Room option, and just in general, a Magic Guard user with stupid recovery, just like Clefable. So a lot of people are going to struggle to break this, and I'm okay with that. So my last pick, kind of a meme pick, but there was only so much I could grab for 1 point, so I was trying to decide, do I grab something for 1 point at all, or do I just leave it at 9 Mons? And I ended up grabbing the Munchlax. Now, I don't know why Munchlax was still there, or why Munchlax was only 1 point, because it's actually really solid. A really solid pick. I used this in the NPL NPL tryout tournament. It only saw 1 game, but it functioned as a special wall, and that's what Munchlax can function as. It's a really solid special wall, especially something that can chew Shadow Balls. It gets a lot of what Snorlax does, not everything that Snorlax does, but a lot of what Snorlax does. Typically, you see it run with a Violet Thick Fat. It's actually a decent attacker. Base 85 attacks, not bad by any means. Very fat with that 135 HP. It's not going to get a lot from the wishes from Clefable, just because Clefable is my only wish passer on this team, but it's still there. It can function as the Ghost Switch-In. I have fighting Switch-Ins in the Clefable and the Reuniclus. Very reliable fighting Switch-Ins, I might add, in both of those. So I was just happy to grab Munchlax at the end here for 1 point. And I'll finally get to the Z users. I didn't really go super wacky with this. We had 27 points to work with the Z users, so I ended up grabbing Garchomp, Rotom-Mow, and Munchlax. It was sort of between Garchomp and Keldeo for me, but I realized that Garchomp is going to run Z a lot more, while Keldeo is going to run a choice item a lot more. So having Z Garchomp is kind of the main idea on the team. Rotom-Mow soaks up some of those Z points that I could have run there. I had to use 11 or below for that, and so Rotom-Mow is my closest below 11 at 10. Otherwise, I would have been running with like a Alolan Persian for some weird reason. I mean, I guess I could have run Z Parting Shot Alolan Persian, but I've never been a huge fan of that move, and I don't really see the use for Z Parting Shot when my team has a ton of recovery on it. And I don't think I have Healing Wish, actually. Now that I'm talking about it, I don't think Clefable gets Healing Wish, but if it does, then there's no point. Yeah, so Rotom-Mow is the user. Grassy MZ, pretty solid, so you don't miss Leaf Storm. Huge nuke, absolutely huge nuke. Electro MZ, huge nuke. I've actually run Darky MZ before with Sucker Punch. That was a meme match, but it's still okay. And then Munchlax just took up the last point. I doubt the Munchlax will ever run Z. It doesn't really get any. I don't think it can even use Pulverizing Pancake, so there's pretty much no Z usage for Munchlax, but you know, if I'm going to use the point, I'm going to use the point. So we threw it on Munchlax. So that is my team for Red. Again, I don't know when I'll be uploading this, but keep an eye out for the rest of the season coming after this at some point, and I will catch you guys later.